Hello, hello, hey, sweet people, and welcome to another episode of Inglês no Rádio. My name is Foster, and as always, I am here with the one, the only.
The sleepy Alexia.
Alexia is very sleepy because it is almost 8 p.m. in Portugal. We are still separated physically for about 6.5 months now, and I miss
Yeah,
you.
I miss you, amor. And not only because it's 8 p.m., it's because our dog woke me up at 4 a.m. because he was afraid of the garbage um, truck.
Mm-hmm. And then you had dog training after that, which imagine is quite exhausting.
Yes, yes. But I love it. It's really good to learn new tricks and new ways to make our puppy happier.
To make our puppy happier and also to make your life and eventually our lives a little bit easier.
Yes. Okay, so Foster, from what I understand, we have a AMA today.
Yes, so we have an AMA that stands for Ask Me Anything. So generally, this is a section of Sound School, our pronunciation and conversation course, where our Sound School students can essentially ask us any question, and we try to give a relatively intelligent answer. But this week, one of our students, Bruno, hey Bruno,
Hey Bruno, he always has so cheerful emails. I love getting emails from him.
cheerful.
Uh-huh. He's like, "Hey Alexia, how are you today? Wow, this week was very, very hard, but I could do it."
Yeah, I mean, I love all of our students very, very much, but I especially appreciate Bruno because he always has such a positive attitude.
Yeah, it's amazing. I wish I was more like him.
Me too. We could all be a little bit more like Bruno. But today, Bruno asked a question for the Ask Me Anything that is a question that I love. It's about a topic that I talk about and think about a lot. And it kind of coincides with some things that we were already planning to talk about on the podcast.
True.
So we are just going to put this Ask Me Anything on the podcast. And then for the rest of the week, we will continue talking about this topic.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. So can I read the question?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Okay. My question for you, Foster, is about spending time on the phone. What do you suggest to improve our English? Because,
Can I would like to note that Bruno said, my question for you, Foster,
yeah.
because he knows I always talk about this stuff. Continue.
Because when I have free time, I do many things during the day, I am using my phone, and when I realize I've spent a lot of time on Instagram, on Facebook, and I don't like to be this guy. What do you suggest to use better my phone as a resource to study English?
Okay. First, I love this question so much.
Of course you do.
I think it is so important. I think it is one of the most important questions everyone can ask themselves right now. So essentially, Bruno is asking, how can I use my phone to improve my English? Because nowadays it seems like when he has free time, he's on his phone, but he's just on Instagram or Facebook, and he doesn't want to be that guy. Is that the way you understand the question?
Yeah, he wants to, like, when he's on his phone, he wants to be um productive.
Right. It seems like he wants to use his phone as a tool, as something that will help him with his English, not something that will distract him. So, Alexia, before we start talking about other things and getting really deep into this subject, what are your kind of first impressions to Bruno's question? Like, do you have any advice or anything like that?
I mean, I like spending time on my phone, but I mean, I don't want to be on my Instagram feed just scrolling and giving likes because I don't like doing that. So, what I do nowadays is I find accounts that I really like and can help me out with my English. So, for example, I've already talked a lot about this. On TikTok, I can find everything. And now, TikTok users, they are making a lot of effort to include the subtitles on every
Ah,
single video.
that's awesome.
Because there is a huge movement from the oh my god, the
Deaf community?
the that community who
Deaf
deaf
with an F at the end. Suve.
deaf deaf,
Hmm.
right? Okay, from the deaf community. So almost every single user are including subtitles.
Yes, almost every single user
Is
is.
is And it's very interesting because, I mean, first of all, it's a movement that is, I mean, we should be aware of this more and more on our social media. And it helps us who are not English natives speakers to practice more our English.
Hmm. It helps us who are not native English speakers.
Eu tô muito sono, então vamos lá.
Okay, so I think this is a very interesting place to start because, as you know, I'm a little bit more radical about my opinions with technology and phones and stuff. My first kind of initial reaction was don't use your phone to help you with English. Because when I think about my personal experience, my phone did not help me with Portuguese apart from music and podcast.
Yeah, but I mean, it depends because nowadays I can find so many people like doing, British English and American English, the difference between those words. And like, it's fun, it's fast, and it's very, very cool to watch people around the world doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. I am not saying that your phone cannot be beneficial for your English. I'm just saying, in my personal experience, I have not found it to be a good language learning tool. I find it to be more of a distraction.
Yeah, but at the same time, we are podcasters, and almost everyone listens to our podcasts on their phones.
Exactly. Okay, first, let's just give a few general pieces of advice. So, for the rest of this week, we are going to talk about this idea of technology, attention, distraction, our phones. And most of this is based off a new documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma, which we will talk about tomorrow. But for now, let's just try to give a few concrete pieces of advice to Bruno. So, do you want to start with one piece of advice or me?
You can start.
Okay, where to start? So, Bruno, I think my first piece of advice would be just having a little bit of separation between your phone and actually studying English. Because there are so many little things you can do on your phone. Like you could change your phone so everything's in English. You could download apps that give you little exercises. In general, I don't think this is going to help your English very much. Maybe you will learn some words here and there, but it's not going to change much. So, just in general, don't think about your phone as this English learning resource. Think about your phone as a machine in your pocket that can do almost anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's a machine that can do anything and you can use it as a tool. But look, not the phone itself, but the resources that you can find inside the phone, such as Google, and then you can find articles to read and etc.
Exactly. Yeah, you really have to put yourself in the perspective of using your phone as a resource and as a tool. So, for example, I was listening to, I can't remember who, but another famous like language person, and he was saying that he has an Instagram account and a TikTok account for every different language that he speaks. So he has an Instagram account just with stuff in Portuguese where he can watch and listen to Portuguese. And then he can log out and change accounts and do the same thing in Spanish.
My goodness.
So there are ways that you can do it and really use your phone to your advantage. But if you think about it, if you have a machine in your pocket that can literally do anything, it can give you all of the information in the world, and it is designed on the idea to keep you looking at your phone, the probability of you only using that to improve your English, it's really bad. It's a difficult fight to win.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, if you are already like addicted to Instagram and Facebook and not doing anything that you think is useful with it, I would say stop. And then once you start becoming more comfortable with your phone to use it as a resource, then it's the right timing. Because otherwise will be just like an obligation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. There's a pretty famous book that influenced me a lot called Digital Minimalism. I've talked about it on the show before by a guy named Cal Newport.
I'm laughing because Foster couldn't stop talking about it like for 6 months, more or less.
Yeah, so the big idea with digital minimalism is he suggests that you should take a 30-day digital detox, which essentially means delete all of the non-essential apps on your phone. So obviously keep like messages or WhatsApp, whatever you need, but anything that you do not think is necessary for your life and your quality of life, delete it for 1 month. And then after 30 days, if you want to add anything, if you want to return to Instagram, whatever, that's totally fine. But in my personal experience, I've found that to be really helpful, just like deleting Instagram from my phone. And if I really need it, like to post something for Inglês no cru or something that Alexia sent me, I can always re-download it.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true and worked very well for you, Foster.
Yes.
And I remember that we were in Chile or Uruguay doing that. You tried to convince me, and I was like, no, you can do it.
Okay, so I think that's a good place to start the conversation and a good place to stop for today. But Bruno, I think this is an amazing question. We're going to continue talking about it all week. So a good place to start is just really thinking about your phone as a tool, perhaps deleting some apps on your phone, and just kind of realizing that like English learning apps or, the small changes to your phone to improve your English, probably not going to be the best thing if you're already thinking, I'm on my phone too much and it's distracting. It's not helping me.
Yeah, and side note, just to end, please turn off your notifications. I don't have any notifications besides Foster's and my dad's. That's it.
Yeah. And that's an awesome piece of advice that I was going to talk about in the next episode. So we will talk about that tomorrow. Alexia, thank you. Bruno, thank you.
Thank you, Bruno.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.